Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is make a grid. Oh, for this project, I've got a ruler. You can just use a straight edge if you want. Got drawing utensil, marker, white gel pen because I always like using them for details. And then I have chosen some colors. Since this is a project where we're going to be focusing on warm colors and cool colors, and you can do this with paints, with watercolors, acrylics, you can do it with colored pencils. I'm going to use markers for these, and I have picked like four warm colors. It's okay if you have more than one in the same family, like I've got two reds, I've got a dark red and a lighter red. That is okay. This is probably a good project to experiment if you've got a bunch of fun, different colors of blue, for example. As long as you can see the difference when you put them down on paper, you can use them. So, I've got a minimum of 3 warm colors here, and I've got a minimum of 3 cool colors. Obviously, I'm biased towards the cool colors because I like them, they're pretty, but you can choose whatever colors you want for that. If you want to go like really conceptual and do like just complementary colors, do just different shades of blue and just different shades of orange, for example. That would be a thing you could do also. But I'm focusing on just warms and cools. It gives me a little bit more flexibility. And the first thing I want to do is make a grid, and I will probably speed this part up. I'm doing 1x1 grids. If you want to freehand it, you can too. For this one, I kind of like the rigidness of it, so I'm going to actually try to be precise with it. So I'm just gonna mark off. Okay, so now I'm done with my ruler. Let me put that away. So now, first thing I do is figure out, we're going to be drawing a tree through the middle of this, so I'm going to use these 2 columns. What I'm actually going to do, just because it'll be fun, is if I'm going to use this line as my center line. Okay, so that's where the tree is going to originate from. Oh, let me show you the grid. I don't know if you can see it very well. I'm actually going to divide each of these in half, just to make kind of a cool tree area there. Okay. Alright, here's going to be about where the roots are going to come out from it. And then on the top here, we need to figure out where we're putting our branches. You can I've got like this left over from mythology or mystery class, so you can use that to trace around. You can also use like, I've got a bowl, just any kind of round shape. And I'm just going to place it on here. Trace all around the edge. So now I've got basically where the outline of my tree is going to be. I want to have, so now I'm going to do some branches. And you see that okay? Yeah. Alright, so branches. From here, I'm going to split the tree. So I'm going to do a kind of a Y shape here. So here's a branch. Here's a branch. Thing to know about trees is they don't really do a curvy shape. They tend to be a little bit more zigzaggy. So I'm just gonna have a branch come off here, maybe another branch come off there, maybe a branch there. There's a trick that's called the V trick, where like every time you make a branch you have a V split off from it, but you can kind of improvise. When I get to the edge of the circle, the branches stop. That's the edge of our shape. I'm gonna do a three-way split here because fanciness. And I'm also gonna split this over here. It's okay if it touches that, that's fine. Also do a three-way split here. I have some dead end branches, and that's okay too. You know, maybe I'll have a stump this way, another stump over here. That's okay. And let's split that also. Do some little skinny branches. Do one more stump right down here. So, this is the shape of my tree. Down here I can go in and add some detail to the roots. It's going to be pretty stylized, so it's alright. It's not going to look like a photorealistic tree. That's quite alright. We're going for kind of an illustrative style today. Alright, so, you guys see my basic tree shape? I'm going to grab my marker and outline it. Just the outline. And don't worry about doing these lines in here. You can even go back and erase those if you want. I'm just doing the very outside of the shape. Another thing to note about trees is that their branches tend to taper off and get smaller the further away they get. So if you're trying for a little bit of realism there, try to keep the branches tapering a little bit, getting smaller or dividing rather than getting wider as they go. And we're not worrying about adding leaves yet, because this circle is going to be where the foliage is. Now keep in mind, we're not erasing these grids yet. We're going to use these when we do our coloring. So this is the point where you choose where you want your colors. So I can choose to have the warm colors be in here, and then it'll look like an autumn tree, kind of, like it's fall. And then I'll do all my cool colors just on the outside. Or I could do the reverse. I could do the cool colors in the foliage and do just the warm colors outside and make it look like maybe this is a tree in sunset. But the key thing is that they're going to be making the shape pop out, basically. And this is a cool trick. If you ever have something that you want in the foreground to really draw attention to it, do the opposite. You either do, if the background is all cool colors, do it warm colors. If the background is a complement, like if the background is mostly purple, do its complement, do yellow on the object that you want the eye to be drawn to. I'm going to do warm colors on the inside, so just gonna grab random color and just color in the shapes, just like, ooh, this is a kind of beat up marker, just like we've done with other projects. I'm not doing the whole square, I'm just doing the shape where the lines touch. There you go. Then maybe I'll go over here and do some over here. I'll skip to up here. If I want to make kind of a gradient while I'm doing this, I could maybe start with a plan to maybe have more of the lighter colors at the bottom and the darker colors at the top, or the other way around. Which I think for my outside, I'm going to do dark purpley blues fading down to greens. So perhaps up here, in this, I will do reds fading up to yellow. So we'll get kind of those complements going on. So we'll do the darker colors inside the foliage here. I'm going to do another orange over here. Or you can just put them wherever you want, mishmash. As long as you follow the rule of having warm colors are only in one part of the picture, and the cool colors are only in another part. I am totally gonna speed up this part of the video so you guys can just watch me do random colors now for a while. I was tricked! This marker is not red. Step 1. Check your markers. This is a lighter orange though, so we'll go ahead and use that for up here. So here's part one. Notice that I have not colored inside any of the actual tree part yet. Only the outside where the leaves are. We're gonna do that part last, so hold your horses. Now we're gonna do the outside with all of my beautiful cool colors here. Hopefully none of them will betray me. I want to do kind of some greens at the bottom, then to blues, then to purples at the top. So I'm going to do kind of a fade, so I'm going to plan my squares like that. I'm still being careful not to have the same color touching next to itself. Like, I tried to make sure that there were not two red squares right next to each other, except for, you know, kitty corner is fine. Alright, so let's put some grass green squares in there. Yep. Sorry, Kiki. I messed up. That's okay, I'm just going to embrace it for now. I think it's okay if there's maybe one or two spots where you have one big block, but we're trying not to do it too often. So this purple is very pink right here. It's definitely borderline a warm color, but we're counting it as a purple. So I'm going to put just a couple spots of it in the cool side of the page. I'm treating all purples as cool colors for this artwork, so even though it's a pretty warm purple, just a little bit of it is probably okay. Even though we haven't drawn any grass or sky or any of that, you can kind of imagine that there's a grass happening down here where it's green and it's fading to perhaps a sunset of some sort with all that purple. This is also a good spot. I mean, if you don't have a million different colors of markers or colored pencils or paints or whatever, this is also a good project to practice mixing. If you have just a red and an orange, you could try mixing them together and make a couple different variations of red, red-orange, etc. Alright, so now we're going to work on this side. Oh my. I'm going to be using some very muted and gray colors for this part. And much like we did with the other ones, we're just going to go in and just color some of the squares. We can leave some white squares too. And I'm going to try, this appears to be a brown, so I'm going to see if it's very saturated. If it's a little, if it's kind of a gray-brown, then I think we can use it. If it's pretty bright, I might only use it in a couple spots. I think in a few spots it's okay. Just a couple splatches of brown to keep it interesting. Splatches. we got our main colors laid out. So we're on the final step now, which is where we get to go in and add some fun details. So I'm going to keep using this and go in over some of the gray spots and the white squares to add bark textures. And I'm just going to do some fun patterns with it. So maybe I'll do like a spiral over here. Maybe over here I'll do some zigzags. And if I want to, I could probably continue that pattern to the white, or I could do something different over there. Can use the gel pen to go back and add the same sort of patterns over the black squares. So maybe over here, to continue that pattern. I like the spirals, so I'll probably do a bunch of those. If you want to have a lot of fun, you could have the pattern continue in the opposite. So I've got white with the zigzags, the squiggly lines kind of right here. So I can just continue that right into that and do a cool contrasty look. You can also use your gel pen to add a little bit of dimension to it at this point. Yeah, I want my tree branches to stand out a bit and have little highlights on it. Maybe I want to do a couple of branches extending beyond the leaves. I could do that with the white pen also. But probably not everyone, just every couple of them or so. Alright, and now, any other finishing touches you want to add? If you want to maybe go back in and add some stars in the sky, this would be a cool time to add some stars in the background. And then down here, maybe I'll go back in with some of my colors and add some patterns in here. So like, say I want to add some grass blades, a grass pattern, for example. Let's do some hatching to just a couple of the squares. I'm still staying inside the square for that. Do some on the blue too. I'll blend them together a bit more. That's okay. Maybe you want to go into the colors and add a little bit of a leaf pattern. Just again, just a couple spots. Oh, that's the actual color. Let's see. Alright, and of course, final step, always got to make sure you sign it. And that, oh, yep, it's backwards.